All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the end of the UGA, or actually, we're going to talk about the entire UGA Georgia Tech game. Also, going to be talking a little bit about the OSU Michigan, just because it's important to the college football playoff and how it's shaping out for UGA. Also, Alabama is going to be playing later today around 3:30. So we're going to touch on that game a little bit and what we saw from Georgia today and the kind of matchup we can expect to see out of Georgia and Alabama coming up. So we're going to give everybody a few minutes to go ahead and join the live show. We're going to go over the whole stats. We're going to talk about the box score, some pretty unique stats that popped up throughout the game, and really the different factors that came into effect during the Georgia game. So if you guys would go ahead and subscribe to the channel, you guys can see us over here. My name is Big Dog Brett, as you can see over here. And helping out Mark today. Appreciate you guys joining the channel, supporting him. You can also go over and check me out at Big Dog Brett on YouTube, DAWG, just like listed right there. But make sure you subscribe to all of Mark's channels, Mark Rogers TV, and you guys get great quality content from him. Much appreciate you guys being here. Carlos Yates, yeah, appreciate you being here. Go Vols, beat Vanderbilt. That's right. Forgot you guys are playing today. That could be a really pretty interesting matchup. How's everybody doing today? Go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you would. Much appreciated. All right. So now that we kind of got a few people in here, but who has Georgia played? What's up, George? We ain't played nobody, man. We have played nobody. Yeah. But even though we've played nobody, we're still 12-0. Just absolutely dominating defeat. My opinion, player of the game was probably Brock Bowers. Man, this guy was playing like a tank the whole game. Just killing it. So right now we're currently streaming to the SEC channel, Voice of College Football, and the Georgia channel, Voice of College Football. So if I missed your comment, guys, I apologize. I'm new, kind of new to the multi-streaming factor, but if I miss it, it's not intentional. You guys have any questions about the game, go ahead and throw them at me. We'll tackle them one by one as we go along here. But in the meantime, we're going to go over some of the stats for this game. Man, what a great game. Georgia put the foot on the gas pedal early, came out, scored 10 points first quarter, 2 more touchdowns second quarter, 10 more touchdowns the third quarter, even though we had put in the backups. And then in the fourth quarter, we still scored another touchdown, making it 45-0. And we were only 4 points away from the greatest victory in points scored in this matchup series. Georgia still came in third, 45-0. The next two go to Georgia Tech. One, I believe, was in 1943, and the other one was in like 1905. So a big disparage between Georgia Tech and Georgia right now. The teams really couldn't be any different. Currently, Georgia's ranked number 1, and you can see why. The consistency throughout the entire game was just there. A couple of questions though. Georgia did show some weaknesses on a few things. I think the biggest thing Georgia showed some weakness on was third down efficiency. Even though Georgia only had 5 third downs, we went 2 for 5 on third down, which is obviously around 40%, not where we want to be. Georgia Tech was around 36%, so they were a little bit on 5 for 14. They only had 9 first downs the entire game. Georgia did an outstanding job of stopping that Georgia Tech offense. Excuse me. Passing, Georgia went for 255 yards in passing, and we only saw 68 yards of passing out of Georgia Tech. Of course, that's nothing new. We're used to seeing a Georgia Tech triple option, so passing yards are usually pretty low for that. But they don't have the triple option anymore, and Georgia still stopped the passing. They went for 98 yards rushing. They weren't able to break 100 yards in rushing. Georgia, I think, had been averaging around holding teams to around 70 yards or so. They had a couple of times they were able to get some momentum, something Georgia's got to get cleaned up. Georgia had an outstanding day on offense. Our average rush attempt was 6.7, and it's hard to stop any team when they're averaging 6.7 yards per rush. George says, I know Georgia fans are getting nervous. You're starting to ask yourself, can this really be true? 1980 was a long time ago. You really need this one. Just a few more games so you can hold your head up again. I got to go. I have 3 games going at once. Appreciate it, George. I got to say, this year I probably feel the least nervous I've ever felt as far as being a Georgia fan facing an Alabama team of any type. This team has just been dominant on all fronts. We really have it well put together. Stetson Bennett performed much better in this game than we've seen him perform in the past. I was actually very pleased with his performance in this game. Excuse me, and we'll get into that here in a minute. This was a really interesting game. There was no turnovers, and of any kind. There was no fumbles, no interceptions, none of that. So very clean game for both teams. And even though Georgia ran up the score 45-0, Georgia Tech had more possession at 33 minutes. Georgia right at 27. Georgia had 0 penalties. Georgia Tech had 4 penalties for 38 yards. But that's not really a lot. That was actually good, clean football, even though this is dubbed the clean, old-fashioned hate game. And there was some times when tempers were kind of flaring a little bit. We still saw that, the teams for the most part kept it pretty composed. Back to the rushing aspect of it. Looking at yards per rush, Georgia held Georgia Tech to 2.8 yards per rush. And that is extremely difficult to get an offense rolling when you can't run the ball. But probably to me, what was even more important was the completion percentage. Georgia went 14 for 20, which is pretty solid. Georgia Tech went 8 for 16, which is not great. It's, exactly 50%, but their average per pass was 4.3. Georgia was averaging 12.8. That Georgia Tech ended up rushing the ball more than Georgia, and still couldn't generate any offense. They stuck with the they stuck with the game plan, which was to try and run the ball. It just didn't work out for them. Georgia's too fast, and there was many times they would get a player to the edge, and then Georgia would just run them down. I'm not sure how many sacks we had in this game. Still trying to pull that stat out right now, but I think it was 3 or 4. It was quite a few. Georgia had their quarterback running for his life. He really didn't have much opportunity to do much. We watched both teams kind of figure out what was going to happen early on. It really didn't seem like they were going to be able to do much. Yates, who went 8 for 16, only threw for 68 yards. You're not going to beat a quality opponent doing that. Stetson Bennett, on the other hand, Stetson Bennett, if I can get the screen to act right here. I can't memorize all these player stats. It just doesn't work that way. Where'd it go? There it is. So Stetson Bennett threw for 14 for 20. Completion percentage is where's it at? This game threw for 70%. When you're throwing for 70% and you're averaging 12.8 yards per toss, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 77-yard long, which went to Brock Bowers. I don't know what else you can ask from the guy. We didn't need to throw the ball for 300 or 400 yards. Georgia played extremely well through several quality passes. I will say that this number would have been higher. His completion percentage would have been higher if Adonai Mitchell would have caught 2 of those passes that went to it. There was opportunities there for our guys to catch the ball and hit him in the hands and just didn't catch it. So it was pretty concerning. You got to be able to catch those passes. Got to be able to bring them in. Absolutely, a problem that has to be addressed. Kenny McIntosh had a pretty good day. He went for 2 carries for 66 yards. When you come in and you can put up 66 yards on 2 plays, you got to love that. Now let's see here. Backing up real quick. Box score. Stetson Bennett. We already talked about him. Jordan Yates, we already talked about him. Dante Smith, he went for 11 carries, and he was averaging 5.4 yards a carry. But Georgia was just all over the quarterback, making him throw incompletions. It was not good. It was not good for them. I will say, David Shanahan, man, this guy can kick. What a great punter for Georgia Tech. 7 punts today. Wow. For 311 yards and averaged 44 yards a kick. Jake Camarda, we only punted one. Jake Camarda punted for 32 yards. 1 field goal. Obviously, Georgia hit that. Punt returns. Karis Jackson had 2 good punt returns. Got 20 yards, averaging 10 yards on return. That's a place we've been trying to recover some of our mistakes and deficits. Let's see here. Let me see here. We got something streaming music here. Let me stop that. There we go. Brock Bowers today, man. Only had 3 receptions, but it seemed like he was catching everything in the world. 3 receptions, 100 yards, averaging 33.3 to the infinity. Yards per catch, 2 touchdowns with a 77-yard long. It was so nice to see Brock Bowers catch that pass over the middle and just absolutely rocket past every player. When he caught the ball, there was 4 or 5 players behind him, in between him and the goal line, and he just shot right through him. There was really nothing anybody could do. Rosamie Jack-Saint got a catch. Jermaine Burton got a catch. Darnell Washington had a great catch. Karius Jackson had a great catch. And Zamir White had a great catch. Now, the reason I bring up these individual people is because every single one of those was a 15-yard or more. And 3 of those, 4 of those, 5 of those passes caught were for 25 yards or more on average. So just absolutely incredible. Georgia was handing out touchdowns to the receiving corps like it was free Skittles. Donnie Mitchell could have had much more in the way of yards if he hadn't dropped a couple of those passes. But the guy that we loved seeing back today, and it was kind of a statement to the Georgia fans, was seeing George Pickens pop up. George Pickens shows up, does a great job, absolutely performs to the standard, and gets it done. So watching George Pickens come out here, catch a ball, get out of the sideline, doesn't get hurt, shows the Georgia fan base he's prepped, he's ready, he's prepared. The coaches are ready, they're prepared, and we still got a week to go before we get into the Alabama game. You know, pretty exciting stuff. Pretty exciting stuff. Where is this page? Here we go. I mean, even though it was the clean old-fashioned hate game, it was just pretty much a clean football game. You saw Georgia do what they do. I forget how many. It was like 6 or 7 quarters that nobody has scored anything against Georgia. They brought up a stat early in the game that Georgia's outscored opponents like 106-6 or something in the second half of games or third quarter of a game, something like that, some crazy number. And I just thought, wow, you know, that's pretty impressive. Georgia comes out, does the same thing again today. You know, offense continues to do its thing. Defense continues to do its thing. Team looks very, very uniform, putting together the same quality throughout the whole season. So good, clean, old-fashioned hate game, but Georgia just demolishes them. So, well, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for that part. I do want to talk a little bit about the Florida FSU game. I'm not really sure if you guys were giving that a close watch, but I'm going to pull up that game real quick. As you guys know or should know, Dan Mullen was recently released from the Florida Gators, and today they're playing ESPN. Let me back this up. Currently, this game's live over on ESPN, and the Gators are winning this game solidly with 3 minutes and 55 seconds to go, 24-14. There was a lot of questions as to whether or not Florida could even win this game. This makes them bowl eligible if whichever team won this game was going bowling and the other was not. So this was an important game to both teams, but Florida manages to pull out the victory without head coach Dan Mullen. So hats off to those guys. Congratulations for that. Coming up later today, we do have the Alabama-Auburn game, which is going to be a great game to watch. Alabama has already clinched the East, and Auburn has already qualified to make a bowl game. So I'm curious as to what kind of motivation they're going to have, especially after losing their starting quarterback, Bo Nix, for the rest of the season. He was out last week as well. Don't know what we're going to see out of that coming up. Currently, right now, we've also got the OSU Michigan game. Really looks like OSU's about to go down. It's 42-27. So unless something miraculous happens, that game's pretty much over. So I really want to appreciate you guys for jumping in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, Mark Rogers TV. Go check out Mark Rogers TV. Subscribe to that channel and all the sub channels. We'll see you guys soon. I'm Big Dog Brett. Have a great day. God bless. Go Dogs.